All right, you guys, sorry about that technical glitch. Cat, Mr. Badass Thailand jumped up on the thing and pulled the cord, so you guys missed what I was saying. But I want you guys to take a listen to this. It's the Demetra K Show. I am sitting in. I am Donovan Sadiq, as you guys know, and Demetra is on hiatus as Mr. Al and her are enjoying some together time. But, when are we going to get back to doing for ourselves? I want you guys to listen to this.
If white immigrants can come to this country 50 years ago with nickels and dimes and no education, and come here and pool their little nickels and dimes and no education, and set up little stores, develop these stores into larger stores, develop this into an industry which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economist, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any businesses, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into his anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what he said about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man and your mind and make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
Wow. I am talking about powerful stuff. Now, does that sound familiar to a lot of people? They say currently, now that was back in 1963, 64, $20 billion of economic power. And he is basically saying the same thing that I've been saying, Demetra K has been saying, and a lot of people have been saying in regards to the black here in America. We have all of this wealth, but we produce nothing. Is it the white man's fault? Is it? We got all this money to buy Nikes, Adidas, Weave. We are the foundation of all of these economic factors. And yet we are the only group of people that do not have a manufacturing base or businesses that are catered to support our own communities. Come over here to California and try to get a job at a nail shop. The Asian, which is here in Southern California, which pretty much dominates that industry. No, you come in. No, family business. No, you come, but we service, but no hire, family business. That's what we get here. They say Demetra K has quoted several shows where she says we have $1.73 trillion of economic power. And a dollar stays in the black community 6 hours. Where else in the world can you come and set up a business in another community that is not your community? You can choke them out. You could beat them. You can pretty much abuse them all of you want. And they will still patronize your business. Only in the black community. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I know you guys don't like what we're saying. I know you guys don't want to believe what we're saying. But it's true. It's true. I went home earlier this year, I believe it was. And Check out the show. Check out the archive shows. And I was just in shock because, again, I was at a gas station and I see all these young people in there and they're like, agitated. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Because remember, I don't live in Louisiana, Louisiana, as I call it. And they were like, oh, they're trying to stiff us and they're doing this and they're doing that, right? And I'm looking at the young people and I'm saying, you're saying that this guy has bad service and they're always, treating you guys bad and doing everything bad for you, but you're still in here patronizing the business. Craziness. You guys know what's going on. They're shooting us down in the streets. I mean, we're the only group of people that will take drugs and sell it to each other. You don't see other cultures doing that. You don't see that happening at all. Pedro over there, he's willing to go into a cooperation with you to sell weed into your own neighborhood because we're the ones that have the money and are stupid enough to use it on a mass scale. I know you don't like me saying that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Look at these statistics of black people going to jail for drug offenses compared to any other group. Yes, I agree with you. The brown population, Hispanic population is up there just like we are. But I said our people, American citizens, not people from Guatemala, not people that are, these people are couriers and do what they do to cause mass, whatever they're doing. We're talking about American statistics. These people aren't even on the radar. These are the people that are on the shadow. I'm not talking about those people. Look at the numbers of black people that are walking into jail based on drug offenses. And in the black community, look at what is the highest rate of us that are going. It used to be men. Now it's women. Women are being incarcerated at a higher rate than men are now. Well, there's a bunch of factors for that. However, with us killing each other, being killed in the streets and all the dumb shit that black men do, you look at the numbers and, the numbers are skewed. But in the prison population, the black women are one of the highest groups going in there. And a lot of these women are going in there for drug offenses. Is it a coincidence that the private prison industry has risen in the United States? They've found a way, just like you just heard Malcolm X said, they have found a way to constantly create jobs for their people. When are we going to create jobs for our people? Where are our industries? And then when we do have a business, when the right price is reached, and I'm not, judging anybody, everybody's got a price. We sell the business to the white guy who takes that business and controls the propaganda or the product to sell against us. The weave industry is a $12 billion industry. Do you actually believe that Caucasian, Asian, and Hispanic, not all of them, because some of them have naturally curly hair, but a majority of them have long, stringy hair. Do you think that they are the people that is supporting that industry? Really? You actually believe that? $12 billion. Where's that money coming from? I doubt if Caucasian, Asian, and Latin women with straight hair are supporting that industry. I know, you women out there, the first thing you're going to tell us is, white women do it too. No, they don't. I have yet to run across a white woman that puts Afrocentric hair in her hair. She puts extensions that look like her extensions. And I've explained this a million times. Long, stringy, straight hair is not predominant in the black community. We have naturally curly, beautiful hair. Some of it's thick, some of it's thin, but it's beautiful. And they're not doing that in that industry. I mean, it's a small part of the industry. I mean, Halloween time, afros get sold all out, out of the woodworks. You go to the, what's the Halloween place everybody goes to get costumes and stuff? Afro wigs sell super good because everybody wants to dress up as a pimp or something crazy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but when are we going to start creating businesses for ourselves instead of begging other people for jobs and then get mad when they don't want to hire us? When are we going to stop this madness? Let's start creating our own jobs. And I know you got these naysayers. Oh, Donovan, you're saying all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm going to tell you, I did 24 years in the military working for the man. Okay? 24 years. I got out. And in those, wait. By the way, in those 24 years, I always worked a part-time job because I wanted a little extra this and a little extra that. So I always worked a part-time job. Thus, I haven't worked in 6 years because I feel that I did the work on the front end and busted my ass. So when you guys, and you guys know what I'm talking about, we're having fun and partying and you guys were buying the Maximas and you're going to the clubs and, all the stuff that young people should do. Going to college, enjoying all that stuff. I didn't get a chance to do all that. Yeah, in a military sense I did, going to the NCO club, partying over there and stuff. But no, I had a little bit more responsibilities than that. 22 years old, I had a child. After Desert Storm, that's the first thing us soldiers do. We make sure we leave something behind. So I had a lot of responsibilities to do. But got out of service. And like my contemporaries, I said, well, let me go look at this. Let me go look at that. And even though I was the most qualified on paper, I found out that I wasn't getting hired. And it wasn't for the fact that I wasn't qualified for the job. Because nowadays, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's been like that for a long time. We all know that. But you know what? I had an epiphany and I said, you know what? I don't need this job. I don't need to do all these things. The American dream is to work that one great job and, make enough to where you're going to be okay and comfortable. Now, I look at some of these young guys that have 3, 4, 5 kids and they're not even 30 years old. And I'm thinking, how do they do it? But guess what? The fact of the matter is they're not doing it. And then some of them that are doing it, they're doing it in a legal way and they are in and out of jail and the family suffers. And so we continue to shoot ourselves in the foot. I mean, these are just basic truths. I know you guys don't like to hear the truth. People don't like the truth, especially when it's true about them. So, so what I did, the biggest bribe in FBI history happened in a small town near March Air Force Space Reserve Base in Moreno Valley, California, right next door to Riverside, California. $2.3 million of a public official. It's on. You could look it up on Google. You could the councilman that was involved is in jail currently right now. And it's funny how these people, once they get their hands caught, oh, I've got a sick ailment. Oh, I'm sick. Mercy, leniency. Totally healthy up until he got caught. But anyway, so with that, I said, you know what? I'm going to get involved. I ran for city council. Got duped several times, playing the city council game. I found out that the Democrat, Republican, they're all in cahoots. It's all the same stuff. It's called the ruling party. So once I figured that out and had that epiphany, I said, you know what? I'm going to create something myself. And I can't tell you how many times from special interests and developers have asked me, how much would it cost to stop what I'm doing right now to what you guys are listening to right now? So I started a business and slowly growing it. I mean, I could monetize this show because I'm on YouTube as well. I could do all of those things. And I'm in a position right now where I can go and hire employees. This is what we're talking about. Now, it has crossed my mind. My question is, do I really want the headache? And not the headache of having the employees, of having the responsibility. That's the biggest thing. But the point is, I'm in a position to do such a thing. What about you guys? What position are you in? Why does your children have to go beg corporate McDonald's to go flip their burgers? And that's another thing. We got to stop with the stupid stuff, okay? There's enough fast food joints and restaurants all over the United States. We've got to come up with innovative ideas and take risk. So when your son or your daughter is talking about something technical, why don't you jump on that and maybe help them by investing in it? That could be a $1 billion idea started from the ground up. And then hire those kids in your community. Now, I live out in the desert in Moreno Valley, California, Riverside, California. So we're still in a water drought. And when I was a kid, you had kids that would come by and they would want to, cut your grass, and they start the little lawnmower business. And, here the Hispanics have pretty much taken that over. So I had a Hispanic kid that said, hey, I do landscaping or whatever. The kid couldn't have been no more than 16 years old. And I said, well, I would love to, I like his entrepreneurship and I love supporting the youth. But I have a 10-year-old nephew that I should be giving my money to and showing him how to earn money the right way, the correct way. And as his uncle, if I can't give my money to my own nephew, I shouldn't be giving it to anybody, especially somebody outside of my community. I mean, that's just common sense if you want to put it mildly. $1.73 trillion in the black community. And we can't keep a dollar in our community for less than 6 hours. It's a damn shame, folks. This weekend in California, we had the Taste of Soul, a really annual event, really big, all kinds of food, festivals, performances, all kinds of stuff is going on down there. I couldn't make it down there because, number one, I don't like the traffic. I don't like to deal with all that. The Clipper game was going on at Staples Center, so it'll be a nightmare trying to get out of there. And I had other responsibilities to do. So I couldn't go, but a lot of my friends went. And I believe Demetra Kay was supposed to be reporting from down at that event. And hopefully she'll tell us about it next week or on the Don't Believe the Hype show. Sitting with me is the Wonder Pup, Belle, my faithful dog of going to be 6 years come January. Hey, Belle, how you doing? Good dog. She's a good dog. I finally washed her. You guys, I know everybody that lives in homes say, it is not very, very good to wash your dog like every week. You should only wash your dog when it's only absolutely necessary because it really dries out their skin and stuff like that. You should let them be as natural as possible. So that's just a quick tip. So anyway, Malcolm X was saying that almost 60 years ago. Do you think that we're still in the same position? I think we're in a worse position because compared to now, we have so many more opportunities. Like he said, he was talking about white people in what he was saying. Now you've got Asians and Hispanics that are coming here with almost little to no education, and they're opening businesses. They're able to go to school. They're doing all of these things that we should be doing as well, but we're not. Why? Ask yourself why. Yes, it is a fact that black people, we do not empower other black people. Why do we do this stuff? I wish Demetra Kay was here because she would have the answer. Blacks do not empower other blacks. Why is that? Why are we so jealous of each other? But here we are talking about something that was said almost 60 years ago. But I can go to the average 25 to 16-year-old girl, and she could tell me everything about what's going on in Cardi B's life. Damn shame, ain't it? 70% of black women are not married for whatever reasons. Oh, I don't need no man. So when the white woman was telling you that, the white woman's got her man, flip the number. 70% of them are married. Why is that? Is that an accident? Is that an abhorrent fluke of nature? Or was that intentional by design? The myth that the black man does not spend time with his children, where did that come from? Black men spend significant more time with their children than any other race. Now, if Demetria K was here, I would joke in and chime in and say, well, that's because we ain't got no job, so where else should you be? You know what I mean? So, it is what it is, right? Right. I mean, this stuff is no accident. Why is it? And I'm kind of glad maybe Demetria is not here, so I don't have anybody to make me look bad. But why is it that a single mother, for whatever her reasons are that she is single, will see her child bring home a bike that is not his and will co-sign on it? My mom told me, you don't find bikes. You don't find, a radio. You know what I mean? You don't find $300 Nikes. That doesn't happen. And even if you did, you're supposed to give the owner an opportunity to reclaim it. But you got women that are just like, okay, well, he found a bike. It's just here. You got women that will black women that will let their sons live in their house with their girlfriends. You've got women that will let their daughters leave their home to go live with their boyfriends. What is that about? Oh, but we're the bad guy. The white man is the bad guy. It's the white man's fault. No, it's our fault. Now, you have these liberals out here who keep talking about, oh, that's a social construct. Everything is an excuse. If society doesn't have a standard, whatever that standard is, has been established. Without it, you don't have a society. And yes, society does change. But fundamentally, a lot of things don't. So-called Christians, the Bible is abundantly clear in what it says. But, I kind of scratch my head because I see these black folks, my people, that are, raging Christians. Raging. But they never go to church. Their kids aren't in church. The black people that are blessed to affluency aren't doing anything to help the community. I mean, I know a few of them. There's a few nonprofits and people out there trying to make a difference in the community. I know you guys right now are saying, ooh, isn't he hypocritical? What has he done in the community? Well, just Google me and find out. Why do you think these kids think it's okay or a rite of passage or manhood to walk into prison? But yet you have these same parents who will are in a neighborhood where they can't get out other than poverty, abject poverty, and will tell their kids, don't join the military. That's the white man's military. Well, how else are you going to escape? There's nothing wrong with doing a 2-year stint in the Army or a 4-year stint in the Navy, reserve, guard, active, whatever your situation is, to get a better perspective of your place in the world. Why would anybody raised in an environment like that want to limit the opportunities of their children? I served 24 years in the United States military, and because of the United States military, my mom kicking my ass, I was able to come out with 11 degrees in different fields. But of course, I was a military brat too. But again, I did not know what I was going to do. And I had to go to my mother to sign me into the military because I was too young. But at the same time, she didn't object to me going in the military. She objected to what I wanted to do. I already knew computers because that's what I grew up on. I can build you a computer right now. No problem. Install it, Windows 10, Windows whatever. I mean, I still have some of my original stuff that I can do. I mean, I was writing basic programs, basic A programs, back in the day before there was a Windows. You had to learn to speak computer language. And I learned to speak it. And I would just write stuff. It just made sense to me. No formal training. I just picked it up living in Japan. And I wanted to join the military and, do the computer thing in the military. My mom said, you already know how to do that. So she signed me up for one of the things that I would never thought I would do, and that was become an aircraft mechanic. I had no mechanical skill. And now, because of that, basic fundamental training, it opened doors to things I had never thought I would be exposed to. But our people, instead of doing that, or instead of telling people, hey, let's pool our money together, let's make a collective and we could just do these things and put it in the community. Do you know there are programs, or at least there used to be, but there might be in some states, where you can pool your money together and make an educational heritage a fund that will pay for everybody in your family's education. Almost like a IRA type situation. I'm not sure if they do anymore, but they used to do them. How come we don't know about these programs? And then you see these black women their teeth are just gritty. They're just tight and cracking because they're under so much stress, and you can see it in their eyes. I tell Dee all the time, early in the morning, watch a black woman. I don't care what her age is. Look at her fist, and her fist is bald because of the stress that she is under, because now she is head of household, she is raising children alone, she is working her ass off, and yet, though she loves her children, she does not have the fortitude, and not all of you women that I'm talking about, you know the ones I'm talking about, to tell her child, hey, go do this, get away from here, flee. I tell my cousins every chance I get them, because there's a significant difference between me and some of my first cousins. I'm basically the age of their parents. And I tell them all the time when they ask me, what's it like living in California, or what's it like traveling to this country? I tell them all the time, why don't you go find out? You got money for weed, you got money for beer, you got money for drugs. You got money for Nikes, you got money for this, you got money for, these tickets, that tickets. Why don't you go and find out? Go get a passport. $130. Good for 10 years. You got a lot of women that will sign off to the fact that their sons are out there being irresponsible and making multiple babies. And then, grandma is so excited. That's my baby. That's my baby. You're signing off on that instead of saying, what the hell are you doing? This has nothing to do with the girl he's having babies with. The problem is that young man. Ow! Well, his father should be there telling him that. His father's not there for whatever reasons. There's one thing me and Dee do agree on. You cannot build a nation based on men. Can't happen. Without the fundamental foundation of a woman, a nation cannot be built. The woman is the first teacher. She is the giver of life. If we do not protect our women, you have no nation. Thus, in a lot of countries back in the day, women were exempt from the draft because people had the sense to know women are life givers. Without them, the nation cannot grow. And as black people, we're not growing because we're not passing the information down to our children and our great-grandchildren and our nephews and nieces. We're not doing that stuff. But we look at these other people that come to this country with all of this opportunity and we say, why can't I open a business? I was at the base store, I think it was Wednesday. And, I was just window shopping as I usually do. Because, I ain't got no real money. So I'm over there just, hanging out like most retirees do. And I was looking at the military sales area. And that's where like your uniforms are bought, your rank and your insignia and all this, military memorabilia stuff. This is where all the soldiers go. And I saw about 8 soldiers over there, or military people, because I can't say that they were Air Force. I can't say they were Army. Not all of them. They, for all I know, they could have been all 3, Navy, whatever. But here's the one thing I noticed. The majority of the soldiers that were standing over there were Asian. Now, when I was in the military, there wasn't that many Asians that I remember that I served with. As a young person, as I got older, of course, the demographics changed, of course. But when I was younger, it was either black or white, and you had like 1 or 2 Hispanics. But very rare were there Asians. And these weren't like Vietnamese people. These were Koreans. And people are saying, well, how do you know they were Korean? I lived in Asia, so I kind of know. And I looked at that and I said, wow. I wonder why this kid's here. And it's obvious this is a reserve base. So I'm looking at this kid. And I went over to him real quick and I said, hey, where you at? And, he was, how you talk that military stuff. And he's going to UCR. He's a student at UCR. What a surprise. And he joined the military for the educational benefits like most people do. And that's his plan. That's what he's going to do. That's, his modus operandi. Now, here in this town, we have I'd say 18-20% black population. When I go on the base now, I very rarely see young black people unless it's a reserve weekend. And most of those black people I see are either in their 30s, 35, and older. I rarely see young black people joining the military. Not that I want you to join. It's not an option. But if you're not going to open a business, if you're not going to go to college, why can't we pool our resources? Why can't we do what these other cultures are doing? Just like Malcolm X said 60 years ago. We are still suffering from that thing. Do you guys realize before integration, we had our own community. We were the first to do it. Well, the Chinese were the first, historically. But the Indians too. But we were the first to do it. Black Wall Street, do you guys remember that? We knew what we were doing. Had our own. We didn't have to go to Montgomery Ward. We didn't have to go down to Woolworths. We had our own stores. We had our own doctors. We had our own mechanics. If there was something wrong with your plumbing in your house, call Derek down the street. He was a certified plumber. He could come over, hook them up, boom, boom. We stayed in our own communities. We only went downtown when it was a special event. Maybe it was a centennial or a parade. And if you go down in the South, some areas in the South, it's still like that. Why can't we do what we're doing? I saw this young man today. I was driving from Home Depot because I'm, trying to repair my house, doing a little, maintenance on my house. And I see a young man that from a distance I thought was a female because of the way he had his hair and the way he was dressed. And I just thought to myself, if my son ever came out of the house like that, I would kick the shit out of him and have it out with his mom. Because that was totally unacceptable. I want you to express yourself. I want you to do your thing. But be manly about it, damn it. Be manly about it. Like my father-in-law would say, which is Demetria's dad. You guys know that I've been trying to get with her sister for over 30 years. What are you, a homosexual? This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Is it that kid's fault that he does not know he's been feminized? Where are the men? And women, I'm not talking about the men you laid with to create that young man. I'm talking about where is your vision of a man that you want your son to be? Me and my mom have many disagreements. My mom really doesn't understand where I get my chauvinistic Ike Turner ways. Right? Until this very day, she will still chastise me for some of the stuff that I do, which is fine. You know, she has every right to. I'm her child. But I'm almost 50 years old. And respectfully, I let my mom chastise me, and I continue to do what I do. You know what I mean? And that's the relationship you're supposed to have. I'm a man. I hear you, Mom, but I'm a man. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And here's the difference. She isn't chastising me for some bullshit. You know, like I'm out there, smoking weed, or I'm out there doing something stupid. She's chastising me for the way I go about standing up for what I think is right. And me and Dee get into this all the time about Tommy Sotomayor and maybe some other shows out there that people listen to. It's all about your delivery. So my mom doesn't stop me from standing up for what I believe is right. She doesn't stop me from doing that. She chastises me on my delivery. Why do you got to do that? I didn't raise you to do that. I didn't raise you to punch people in the face. And she's right. And I take that into question. But at the same time, maybe my mom doesn't know the type of people I'm dealing with. And that's where you got to have that discussion. I'm from the school of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. I believe that. And people in my community are realizing that if you want to get in the gutter, I will get in the gutter with you. I have no problem doing that because they're so used to people being above the fray. What's that Michelle Obama thing? When they go low, we go high. What does that mean? So these guys are, it's almost like the Martin Luther King thing. It is insane that you are going to be nonviolent with the person that's got a club in their hand. That's insanity. That's why they're brutalizing you, because they know you're not going to do anything. That emboldens them. But if you got a club like he's got a club, there's a little pause there. It's just like we do in our military. They've got nuclear weapons. We've got nuclear weapons. So we got to think this out. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk. I think we should talk. Right? I think it works. So I wouldn't be a Martin Luther King supporter, but at the same time, he was doing what he thought was right. And some people followed it, and now we are in the situation that we're in today. I think that we are in a worse situation today than we were before the Civil Rights Act was signed into law. I really do. We have no community. They have learned to divide and conquer us until this very day. And yes, we had a black president. He was obstructed for 6 years. I understand that. But I also understand that he was put there for a specific reason. Ask yourself, what did Barack Obama do for black people? What does Maxine Waters do for black people? What does Nancy Pelosi do for black people? And I hope you guys do not think that the midterm elections is going to change everything around. It is called the ruling party. Do you not realize that both of these parties are the same entity, just different sides of the same coin? Wake up, you guys. Wake up. And you black folks, you better wake up especially because you're being left behind. I am embarrassed that another culture could come here as long as we have been here and pull themselves up by the bootstraps from literally nothing. $1.73 trillion in the black community annually. And we have nothing to show for it but Nikes, Jordans, weed, and all this other good stuff, right? Totally ridiculous. That kind of economic power and to have nothing to show for it. And you guys think I'm crazy? You guys must be crazy. That kind of economic power. That kind of economic power, you can go to Washington and buy yourself a goddamn presidency. Wake up, you guys. You guys need to wake up. But hey, this is the Demetra K Show. I am Donovan Sadiq. I am honored to be sitting in for Dee as she is on sabbatical, and hopefully she will be back next week. For all we know, Al is going to whisk her off to Houston to where she will start her own show down there. And I will be very, very mad. As you guys know, and I want this to go out there on public air, Demetra is signed to my production company. I discovered her, okay? So if I have to sue Al and anybody else that tries to steal her from me, hey, look, do you guys remember the Death Row Ruthless Records Dr. Dre situation? I am willing to release her. That's no problem. I just want to be compensated. That's all. I'm losing talent. So, support local businesses. I have to replace. You know how hard it is to go out there and find somebody that has the knowledge and the wisdom of a Demetra K. And plus she's appealing to the eyes. I mean, like I said, her mother was a gorgeous woman. Oh my gosh. Remember when I first saw her, I was like, oh my God. I mean, just beauty, smart, just awesome. And then, her little sister, who knew her little sister was going to be a monster in a good way. I'm talking about, when I say monster, fellas, I'm talking about monster, nice and thickums, that kind of monster. I mean, this girl's beautiful and intelligent as well. She's a educator. So, I mean, that's good genes right there. That just goes to tell you. So Dee will be back next week. Hopefully we will hook up on Tuesday for the Don't Believe the Hype show, and we will bring Mr. Jackson on. I love to have Al on the show. He's a Southern gentleman, always taking pictures. Al loves to take pictures, has beautiful daughters. I've done some background checking on him. I didn't want to say this to Dee because it might hurt her feelings, but he's got like 4 other kids out there. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. One thing about Al, he doesn't have any patience. And, he's a Navy veteran. And we're working on him getting, his paperwork right and getting the things that he needs to get because he served, and that's the way it's going to be. So look for us next week. But I want you guys to really seriously think about what is going on right now. $1.73 trillion. And we have no businesses, but we support all of these other businesses. It's crazy! Wake up! My mom called me, by the way. The Hate That You Give, I heard, is a very, very good movie. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. I haven't seen it yet. My mom called me at 10:12 in the morning. My mom lives in Louisiana. That means she went to the Late Show over there and was trying to tell me about it, and I'm like in a dead sleep. For my mom to call me to tell me about a movie, it must have been that good. And by the way, my mom is a young 68 years old, and she is going back and getting her degree. It is never too late to get your education, and I would really advocate for everybody to get your education. However, you do not have to get your education and take on a lot of debt, and we're going to talk about that this Tuesday if you listen to the show. Big shout out to all my friends out there. Miss Shay, I say Shay, Tay Gonzalez. She's on a sabbatical herself, doing her thing and just enjoying herself and watching the drama. I'm Donovan Sadiq, you guys. Love animals, spay, neuter, and if you're looking for an animal, please go to the animal shelter. We'll see you guys again next week.